All right, welcome back. This is Meds Mnemonics with a new video. Just wanted to say if you guys like my material and you like this video, click the like button. If you want me to make more videos, you can subscribe to know when new ones come out. So without further ado, let's get going with this video. You guys can read. All right, so this is just a medical disclaimer stating that if you have a serious medical issue, go see a medical professional and don't sue my ass. Holy shit, I'm going to swear a lot, and I'm definitely not sorry. Okay, so in the past week, I was kind of looking through some of my notes and I came across a really good table on how to actually memorize the ABO blood types. And I was looking at some other videos. They do a great job conceptually explaining how the different blood types work and how, like, which ones you should be given, which ones should be received, and which ones can be donated, and what have you, and how that kind of works with the antigens and the antibodies. And holy shit, to be honest, it just gets really confusing. It's good to understand the concepts behind, like, the mechanisms of how, like, blood transfusions and all that nature and how that works. But during a test, if you're stressed, you need something to kind of just, like, a quick, simple, graph or something that you can kind of reference to is actually going to make your life a lot easier. So that's the whole point of this video. Essentially, give you something so you can answer questions quickly on tests. This is not specifically to understand the concepts behind, like, blood transfusions and the reactions and if something were to go wrong, if the wrong one were to be administered. This is simply just to answer basic questions of which blood types can be donated and which blood types can be received based on certain types. So that being said, let's dive in. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the 4 different type of blood types. Okay, so the first one's going to be type A, second one's going to be type B, third is type AB, and then fourth is O, which essentially means nothing. So I'm going to use my cursor here, and what we're actually looking at is, if you look at type A, it's going to have this type A antigen, which is going to be a glycolipid, which is going to be the outside the surface of a red blood cell. And then for this one's only going to have the B antigen on the outside. And then for type A and B, they're both expressed. And then for O, nothing was expressed. So that's actually going to be in wording below. So A and B are surface antigens. And just to preface, there are many, many, many more surface antigens, but just for simplicity of test taking questions and what have you, and not like in clinical actual setting, I'm only going to be talking about the A and B and the RH factor of these surface antigens. Because if you add in everything else, it just gets super confusing, and I'm not trying to go that far in depth. I just wanted you to be aware that there are many other antigens and antibodies you need to be worried about when doing blood transfusions. It's not just simply, are you A, B, and RH factor plus or minus. So again, the RH factor, which is not in this diagram, is going to be another surface antigen. So if you have it, it's going to be noted RH positive, and if you not have it, it's going to be RH negative. And then there are 8 total types. You can have A positive, A negative, B positive, B negative, AB positive, AB negative, O positive, A negative. So those are the 8 total that you can have. Okay, so now we're going to go over how to draw the actual graph. So if you're taking an exam and you want to reference this and you're running on 2 brain cells and you're on your, like, 150th question, this is what the graph is for, to kind of keep it nice, simple, and straight. So the rules are here on the right. So the first thing you want to do is you want to label your axes. So the first one that's going to be for the y-axis is going to be the person. This means, like, the person is the patient that's going to be receiving the blood. And then for the x-axis, which is going to be on top up here, this is for the blood that's actually being donated or actually going into that patient, okay? So the whole point of this graph is you need to figure out which blood type of the person can receive what kind of blood. So next what we're going to draw is the AB, AB, and O along the y-axis. And then what we're going to do is everyone's going to get an O on the right over here. So you just draw a bunch of O's for all 4. And then what you're going to do is everyone gets what they are themselves. So you can see here, A is going to get A, B is going to get B, AB is going to get AB, along with, because it has A and B in its name as well, it gets A and B individually as well. And then unfortunately, O only gets O. So you can see how these arrows are kind of pointed over here. This should actually tell you really quickly what a patient can actually receive. So for an example, if someone is type A, one at the top here, if you look at the arrow and go to the right, the only 2 types of blood that actually can be given this patient safely, theoretically, with the other antigens and what have you, is going to be A and O. All right, so I'm going to go through more examples and kind of go a little bit more in depth as to how this actually works throughout the ongoing slides. But this is the basis of what you need to learn how to draw. So again, I'm going to go through the rules. You're going to label the axes, the person, and the blood that's going to go into them. Then you're going to draw AB and ABO along the y-axes. And then you just want to give everyone a no, because I'll explain later why that's a thing. And then everyone gets themselves, and then AB is a little bit of an exception that it gets A and B individually as well. All right, so this is what the graph's going to look like when you draw it out when you're taking the exam. So here's going to be an example. So type A, which is the top row, and I'll use my cursor here. Never shows the fuck up. Okay, so here's type A. This is the person that you know, like you type in screen, you're like, okay, this person's type A, that's what they're going to be given. They can receive A or O, but as you can see, they're not going to be receiving B or AB because this is due to antibodies. Now, if I were to go in the whole concept of this and want to confuse the shit out of you, I can definitely go into that. But if you want to learn the actual reasons why certain blood types need to be matched to certain types, it's because of antigens and then presenting with your immune system making antibodies against the ones that it doesn't have, because it doesn't want to see something foreign in your circulation. If you want to learn more about that on YouTube land, there's actually really, really good videos conceptually and how to understand this, but I really don't want to confuse the shit out of you. I just want to give you memory hooks and diagrams you can draw so you can actually remember how to do this shit when you're prompt asked a question quickly on an exam. So that's the whole point with this, is that with type A, they can receive A and O because it's not going to have an antibody against its own type. So A can have A, so that should be, pretty obvious. And then O, because there's nothing on the surface, there's nothing for your body to respond to or attack with an antibody. So those are the two that are okay. But the ones you can't do is B and AB because it has the B antibody in there that your body is going to recognize as foreign, being holy shit, why the fuck is that here? It should not be here, and it's going to attack it, and that's going to cause some huge fucking problems. And that's what you don't want. So I just kind of wanted to explain a little bit of the concept behind it, but I really don't want to dive into it because it's just going to melt your fucking brain. So real quick, there are two main types you need to be aware of. So the first one is called the universal receiver. This is AB. So you can see that I boxed in red here. When you go from AB, that's the person, which is here, they can receive anybody. So the AB is going to be for anybody. So you can give them A, B, A, B, O, like you can fucking give them whatever you want, which is pretty amazing. And then what we're going to have is the universal donor. As you can see, donor is being given to everyone. It's been given to A, it's given to B, AB, and it's given to itself. So I'm going to say this in another way on the next slide. So another way to put this, AB is kind of like an asshole. And what I mean by this is he will take, or he, she, it, whoever, this entity will take anything, meaning the AB is an asshole. You can see that it's getting A, B, and O, and it's greedy. It only wants to receive itself. So if you actually look at this entire, diagram / graph, you can see AB is only written once. So AB can only be given to itself. So it's greedy. It'll take anybody, but it only will receive and give to itself. So AB is an asshole. And then O is for the hero. So the hero will actually give to all, as you can see here, and I showed that on the last slide. So this is the universal donor. This can give to A, B, AB, and O. But it sacrifices itself, meaning that it can only give to itself. So it's awesome that it can give to all types over here, which is AB and O. But the problem is it can only receive itself, which is unfortunate. So that's why O is the hero. It will give to all, but sacrifices itself. All right, so now I'm going to talk a little bit about the H factor. And essentially the way I'm going to set this up is there's going to be on one side, which is going to be the left, it's going to be giving / donating, and then on the right, it's going to be receiving. And you're going to have to memorize a little bit of some pluses and minuses, but once you get one side, all you got to do is just flip the, switch the signs, and then you have what it is. So over here, if you're going to give and you're going to donate, a positive can only give to a positive. And the rationale is if you gave it to a negative, if it's on the surface of the red blood cell, the negative doesn't recognize that. So it has an antibody to protect against it, and it's going to start going havoc and creating a lot of crazy shit. So positive can only get a positive because it will recognize that. On the other hand, you can see at the bottom here, a negative can also give to either negative or positive. Because if you give a negative to a positive, the positive doesn't give a shit whether it has or not, because it's only going to recognize if it's actually on the surface. And if nothing's there, it won't be able to recognize it. So that's the whole point of giving in this situation. So the way you can actually remember this is if you start with giving something and you donate, if you give, like if you give to charity, like that's a positive thing. And you're going to have positive things come back around to you, like good karma. So that's why positive gives to a positive. And if you just remember, this is really the only part you really have to memorize, is that a negative during giving or donating is going to either be, you can give to either a negative or a positive. Now, if we come over to the receiving end over here, all you have to do is just switch the signs. So instead of positive, positive, it goes negative, negative, and then you just switch this negative to a positive, and it can take either or. So I have an example of this below, so this can kind of make it a little bit more straightforward as to what the hell I'm saying. So if you were to take someone that's AB positive, and what you want to look at is, let's look at the signs. So if they are positive, we're going to start with this. If you're going to give it, it can only give to a positive. In AB, like I said, it's a greedy bastard. It'll only give to itself. So it can only give to AB, and it's only going to be positive, not positive and negative. And then if you go over here, and you can see that the positive for receiving can receive either or right here. So it can receive, like I said, it's an asshole. It'll take from anybody, A, B, and O. So that's why it has the pluses and minuses for this as well. Now, if we were to switch this and make it negative, what you can see is like these signs actually switch. So like this one from one positive, these are all now one negatives, and these positive negatives switched up here. So if it's negative, we'll go over here. So you can give to anybody. So you can see for a negative that you can give to a positive and a negative. And for receiving, the negative can only receive negative, meaning that this AB negative can only receive A, B, and O, all negative. So I hope that's a little straightforward, not too confusing. I know this is a little kind of mind-numbing, which is why I made this slide and try to make it nice and neat as possible. And if you know how to draw the graph, then you can draw this. Just remember that if you give, it's going to be a good thing, and good things are going to come around. And all you have to remember is just this negative can give to either or. If you know this, and then just switch the signs for receiving, you should be able to separate this out fairly quickly and be able to apply this to the test question that you have. Okay, so the bottom line is the two main things that you may be asked is like if you need blood, so like if you are the patient, what kind of blood type would you want to be? Well, you're going to want to be an asshole because you're going to want to be AB positive. And if you see down here, you can receive A, B, and O in all positive negatives. You can receive essentially everybody. So essentially, if you had a choice of what blood type you could be, you'd want to be AB positive because that means you can receive anybody if you needed a blood transfusion. And if it's unknown, you want to give O negative, which is going to be the donor. So this is the hero, the one that's going to be able to give to all. And you can see here, as I highlighted, they can give A, B, and O, excuse me, and they're all either positive or negative. So you can give to just about anybody. So on the left, these are all that can be received from AB positive. And on the right, this is O negative, that's all that can be donated. So I just really kind of wanted to hammer this home of which ones can accept which. So you can see AB can accept all, and you can see that O, which is the hero, gives to all up here. Okay, on to the next slide. So here's an example. We're going to do type A+. So I'm going to show you the answers here. And, well, this is what's going to be outlined, but I'm going to show you the answers here. So first off, we want to use the graph for what it's actually designed for, which is to receive, because mainly what you're going to be asked on exam is what can you give them? So this is going to be the receiving, and that's why I designed the diagram to be for specifically what can you give somebody of that type. So if we are A, we're going to go to A. It can be given, which is blood that's donated, either A or O, and that's the answers here, A and O. And then if we go to the RH factor, you can see that positive, sorry, we're going to start with receive. So we can see that positive, it's either going to be one or the other, which is why you have plus, minus, plus, minus. And then for what it can give to, you're going to have to use this graph a little bit backwards. So if you use this side, you can see where A is labeled and then work backwards. So we saw that we gave A to A, so that's why A is here. And then not B, there's nothing in O. You can see here that there is an A for AB, and that's why AB is in this part, the part that you can actually give to. And if we go up here, when you're giving, the positive can only give to positive, hence why these are only positives and no negatives. So I hope that was pretty straightforward of using both of these graphs. If you just draw this one and then this one, you should be able to figure these out fairly quickly, and then just use it forwards and a little bit backwards to figure out which ones can receive and which ones can donate. Okay, so just a quick recap. There are 4 blood types. There's A, B, AB, and O. You want to learn how to draw the table, the one that's on the left, and then the ones on the right on the slide. Remember, AB is the universal receiver, means that he's the asshole. He can receive anybody, and he's greedy. He will only give to himself. And then O, which is the universal donor, is the hero. Will save and gives to all, but actually ends up screwing himself. And remember, if you need blood, you want to be an asshole, which is AB plus. They can accept anybody, plus or negative. If blood type is unknown, if you get a trauma patient that comes into the hospital and you need to give them blood right away, and you don't know any of their history or what blood type they are, you're going to give them O negative because that's a universal donor. And then for our RH factor, you want to give, like I said, with the graph, a good person is a good thing, which is positive, and then good things come around. So it's positive, positive. And just remember the second step, and you should be able to remember which parts are which when it comes to RH factor when drawing that graph. And then all you got to do for the receiving end on the right is just switch the signs. All right, holy shit, I got through that really quick. So yeah, that's it. I know I didn't really go into all the concepts. I know it does help to understand graphically, like which one is an antigen, which one is an antibody, and blah, 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 blah. And then it melts your brain, and then you forget it in 2 days, and then you have to watch it again, and that's annoying, and it's not going to be very helpful. So all I wanted to do was just give you a graph that if you have a person with the type, what blood can you actually give them? And then if they have an RH factor, if you just remember the signs through what I told you for when you're giving and then when you're receiving, then you should be able to figure out exactly like which blood type can give and which one can receive. And if you can do that, you should be able to knock these out fairly quickly. All you gotta do is just draw both diagrams and then you should be fine. So I know I went through that pretty quickly, and this is a very slippery and tricky topic, but hopefully this video was very helpful. And if it was, please let me know. Drop a comment below and say like, hey, this was a good video, or you further confuse the shit out of me. You can do either or. So yeah, if you like this video, click the like button. And if you want me to make more videos, like I say every time my videos, for a litmus test, just hit the subscribe button. I really can't talk. I swear to God. Um, but yeah, so hopefully this video helps. And yeah, without further ado, I'll let you guys get back to studying. I love you guys and hope this video helps. All right, see you at the next one. Peace.